Okay, so part two of the lesson, what I'm going to do is just have you get going as far as the beginning of this advertisement, excuse me. We'll put the border on it, and maybe we'll start putting in some of the text. So if you look, the ad we're going to make is this Bay Hill Dental ad over here. This was made by one of the students in the class last year. Just FYI, when you look at InDesign, let me just point out a few things that that may be a little different than using some other programs. First of all, there's a lot of different toolbars and ways to control whatever it is you're working on. The main toolbar is this one right here that goes top to bottom, and you notice there's a black arrow, there's a T, there's a pencil. We're only going to use a few of these tools. We'll use the arrow tool, we'll use the T, we'll use this line tool right here, we'll use the box or rectangle drawing tool, and the last thing is this one called the free transform tool over here toward the bottom. And again, I'll show you how to do that in a little bit. In addition, there are other menus that sort of pop out. This is for swatches if you're going to work in color. There's a text wrap menu, a paragraph menu. There's also, if you look at the top of the screen, what's called the control palette, and that's this thing right here. And what's interesting is with the control palette, depending on what you're working with, it changes. Like if I click on the edge of this advertisement, the border, notice it changes and it has all these sort of active options that are available for you. In addition, if you work with text, right here, so if I click in here and oops, there we go. Click on the text right here, it changes as well. You see there's a font, it says regular, and the size of the font. So there's all these different options that are available for you there as well. Again, that's just called the control palette. So what are we going to do? Well, if you look at this ad, and by the way, notice when you look at the ad, the way it's laid out here, it's got all these little blue lines, all the different elements. There's a border, there's a headline, there's a line right here, there's 3 blocks of text, and then there's a graphic. Notice every little piece has blue lines around it, and if you're working with an ad and you want to know what it looks like when it's done, you just hit W. Well, first of all, make sure you have your black arrow clicked. If you have your text tool clicked, you'll type a W, but if you have your black arrow clicked and hit W, this is what it's going to look like when it's done. This is what it's looking like as you're working on it. Notice you can see the margins on the page, and you can see all these little blue lines. To get rid of them, you just go like that. Okay. So let's start creating this ad. And first thing we're going to do is we need to draw a border. So we go over here to the left, click on your rectangle tool, and just go on the page and draw a rectangle. Just pull down. I'm holding the button. Pull down to the right and draw the rectangle. Now, you have to be sure that your ad is the right size, and this ad that I'm laying out has to be 2.4 by 3.4. Now, if you look, how do you measure that? How do you make sure that it's the right size? Notice at the top of the screen that the control palette, again, changes depending on what you're working with. And if you're working with an object, it shows you see W and H is the width and height. And notice it's already set in inches. Some of you guys, when you work with this, may notice it has a measurement that says like, 8 point something something P. There'll be a P in there instead of inches. Be very careful. P is picas. When you design things, you can measure everything in inches, but a lot of designers use picas. What a pica is 1/6 of an inch. So it's much more of a smaller measurement. And let me just show you, just in case there's a problem with that. If you're in picas, change it over to inches. The way you do that is hit Edit, see Preferences down here, and then pull it up to Units and Increments. See it says inches. Yours may say picas. Watch, I'll change it to picas. And if you look up here, see the measurements are in Ps. So if you get into this program and everything is in Ps, you got to just shift it over to inches. So again, Edit, Preferences, Units, change it to inches. Okay, and we're all set. So how do you make sure that your border here is the right size? When you draw this border, when you draw this rectangle, it's like a hula hoop right now. If you click in the middle of it, nothing's going to happen because it's just a hula hoop. So click on the edge and notice it lights up here and it says, okay, this is 2.5532 inches by 3.5731 inches tall. So I'm going to change this, and I'm just going to type in the numbers, 2.4, and hit Enter. And then the height is 3.4. Hit Enter, and it's the right size. You're all ready to go. Okay. Let's put in the first block of text. See, it says Bay Hill Dental over here on the right. Now, the way you do that is you can type it. Watch this. The way you type or work with text in this program is you hit the text tool. Okay. Now, what a lot of rookies do when they do their first ad is they want to put in Bay Hill Dental, so they click inside the rectangle and they type Bay Hill Dental. And notice it's kind of stuck up in the corner, and they try to move it. They grab their arrow tool, they try to move it, and they find out, oh no, it's stuck in the corner. Why is it stuck in the corner? Because again, this program is really stupid. It did exactly what it is that you asked it to do. You typed it into the rectangle, so it is now part of the rectangle. And that's why whenever you type text, what I'd advise that you do is go down below, okay? Make a text block. You pull down to the right, just like when you made the rectangle. You're saying, I want to type in a box about this big. Let's type our Bay Hill Dental. Okay. And the size of the font here, and the font that you're using, this is Trajan Pro, and you're using 32-point bold. Now notice, see how the control palette changed? If you're working with text, you highlight something, it changes into, there's fonts and all kinds of text stuff up here at the top. Let's make it the right font, so you can click here and notice that Trajan is right below it, but just a little kind of shortcut that I show people. Let's say you're using Arial font at the top. You can scroll over here and go all the way up to the top and waste your time, or you can just click on A and it jumps up to the A's. Okay, let's go back to the T's, and there's Trajan. So again, click that. Yeah, just an easy thing to be able to jump up and down. It's bolded, so we hit bold. And then the size is 32, okay? And then if you notice, see how this one, it's really tight between the B and the D here? Notice how much space is in between these right here, okay? When you type in this program, it assumes that, like with 32 point, there's a certain amount of space between, let's say, the line this B is sitting on and the line this D is sitting on. What we want to do is tighten that up. It's called the kerning, okay? Again, you have a lot of control in this program. And if you highlight this, okay, notice it has the font 32. See right below it, there's two capital letter A's, and there's a line below each one of them. That's the kerning. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to eye it. You can type in a number if you want, but I'm just going to go and make it smaller. Okay, see how the D is moving up? There we go, much tighter than it was before. And I'm going to make this nice and snug. Pick this guy up. And I'm going to put him in place. About there. And I'm going to tighten this up nice and snug so it's inside. So we've got our headline all set. In the next step, I'll show you how to fill out the rest of it.